Hello everyone, welcome to or back to the new grid. I'm Kyle, and in today's video I'm going to take Full Self-Driving Beta 10.11.2 on a test drive to see how it performs. Now, there's a few inclement weather situations where there's a very bright sun that I'm driving into on this drive, and you can see that it's not going the full speed, but it's still performing fine and whatnot. So that's just down this road, and there's a car coming from the other side. It felt like it may have slowed down just a little bit for that, but I don't think it did that much. So this is also a completely different drive than I normally take, but I thought it might give an interesting look at how it's progressing. So we're about to make a greater than 90-degree turn at this intersection up here, and we'll see how it performs. And of course, this intersection is right on the top of a hill. You don't have much visibility until you get to the top of the hill if anything's coming, but nothing was coming, and it did all right making that turn. Now, had there been a car parked going the opposite way on this road, it would have been into their space, but it could have handled that if there was one. So without there one there, it did perfectly. So now we're continuing along. We're gonna be coming up to some roundabouts soon. But let's talk a little bit about Elon Musk buying some Twitter shares, and if something else jumps out, I'll make note of it. But Elon Musk's buying of Twitter shares and being appointed to their board, I think this is actually a very strong thing for Tesla, because if he was not thinking that Tesla or SpaceX were in a very good position, then he wouldn't have been committing his time to another company in order to help it improve, even though he really cares about free speech. So I think that's actually a very bullish signal for Tesla, is that he's able to devote a little bit more time to helping improve Twitter. A lot of people argue that he's just going to be spread too thin and won't be able to do as much as he could, but I definitely think the opposite is that this is actually, he's finding he has more free time that he can devote to Twitter. So as we're driving along here, there are a few mailboxes on the edge of the road. I haven't had any phantom braking occurred. I haven't driven this release very often, but it does seem to be better with that so far. We did swerve over to the right-hand side of the road, and there we had some phantom braking event. Not sure what may have caused that. We're slowing down for this turn, and it pretty much so handled that perfectly. So now I'm going to actually reroute us slightly. As we enter this roundabout now. There's no one in it. And it's really confused here with that truck. It stopped because it was afraid they were going to continue on in at the speed that they were traveling, but they ended up stopping and then it continued on. So that's one issue where it thinks, hey, there's a collision course possible, we're going to stop, and that's not the best situation, but it has continued to drive itself. I've not taken over yet. So now we're continuing on, going to enter this next roundabout. And we'll see how it does in that one. Right now it looks like there's no one even close to entering this roundabout, so no one's behind me, so I'm just going to let it do what it does. It's kind of slowing down a bit back here farther and stopping, where I would have just proceeded through and into it since there's no one in this roundabout. And very fast coming out of this roundabout, which is decent. Although the safety score would have complained that you had too much turning force and deduct your score for that. So these mailboxes on this road I think are far enough away from the roadway that they shouldn't affect and cause phantom braking, but that's kind of what I'm seeing anyways. So really no issues going down this road. We are going to come up in under a mile to a turn that is more than 90 degrees. And that should be interesting. It is at a stop though. It is at a four-way stop. But still no takeovers, there's one small harsh braking and then the one stop in the roundabout that it definitely could improve upon. And again, it's got to be more protective of being safe, and that's basically what it was trying to do with that potential collision course with that truck as they were to enter that roundabout. So here we are coming up to the stop, and we're going to make a right-hand turn going the opposite, more than 90 degrees. Future Kyle here. While I'm stumbling adding the new point to the map, I thought I'd let you know that you may want to subscribe to my channel and like this video if you like this kind of content, because I do have a rainy day video, and I think that video will be interesting to see how it performs while there's rain coming down and full self-driving beta is functioning in that period. So stay tuned for that to come. Now that video, I have the raw footage, but I didn't record audio at that time, so I've got to re-record audio and make it into a video, but this video, other than this small edit, is completely raw footage. So as that has now calculated where to go, we're going to make a left-hand turn, basically to go back the other direction. And again, through here, these mailboxes, I've had issues with these before on this road, and they're not posing any issues right now. And it handled that turn perfectly. Again, now we're approaching some mailboxes, but they're not even showing up at all on the map as people, so I think they've done very good at eliminating that type of phantom braking events. And corrective steering for those. And that could be to the some of the changes that they did with determining where points are actually at. So I'm still driving, no interventions, and it's doing just fine. There's that one issue at the roundabout that it stopped, and then there was one phantom braking event, and I think that looking back at it, it probably was due to some shadowing on the roadway, which I've seen before, and that was something that I've not actually reported about, but I've seen it, and I've been trying to get some events that occur like that to show you guys. And I'm not sure why that Jeep just wants to stop there, but very nice turn through there, made it through that intersection just fine. So there's a braking event right there. And I'm not sure what caused that. I did think there was a cone back there. Another braking event there. Not sure why. There's a bunny going across the road, but they're through before I get to it. Now, this is a busy road, so making a left-hand turn can be hard to do. So we'll see how Beta performs at it. I may have to take over. I'm going to take over. Oops, they're turning, so I'm going to go. So that's my first takeover. Had I realized the speed that that car was going, I probably could have let it continue on, would have let it continue on, but this is an intersection I'm not very familiar with, so I didn't. So even though there's that one intervention, I don't think that it was needed. Had I been more familiar with this roadway and realized how fast that car was traveling, I wouldn't have had to have Beta stop. I was more concerned that Beta didn't see him at all. So now we're at a red light. And there's plenty, well actually there's turners going right now. Their light I'm looking at has just changed. I'm going to press the accelerator because it had creeped up enough that I didn't feel comfortable sitting there. And now here Beta's making a weird mistake with getting in the wrong lane. But it did correct itself. There's a person over there. Beta sees them just fine. They were plenty far off the roadway, so it wasn't an issue. So there's another bit of phantom braking right there. I do have a car that's following me probably too closely anyways, but it wasn't that harsh of a phantom braking event. There's a little bit of one there. I suspect that it saw that car coming out and was afraid that they might be crossing into my pathway for that braking event. So their Beta actually did fairly good at staying away from those potholes on the edge of the road. It stayed in the roadway, so there were some that weren't able to be avoided, but it was very good at handling that. And with that, thanks for watching. Please consider subscribing, and I'll see you in the next one.